Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. In today's video guys, we have to talk about Palantir stock. Palantir obviously doing an update specifically on this company as we are having an interesting pullback touching 24. We went even below $24 per share today, at the moment down minus 2.4%. So in today's video I want to tell you what am I doing, what prices I'm looking at in order to buy more. You know, I own Palantir stock, is one of my biggest positions in the long-term portfolio. I want to tell you what prices in my opinion are extremely interesting because of fundamental analysis, and then also taking a look at the price action where we can have a bounce. Okay, looks like we are touching interesting levels already, and talk to you about a thing that it seems like lots of people, especially probably new investors, are getting fooled by, specifically on companies like Palantir. Anyway, before all of that, the only thing I ask you is please leave me a like, it's very important and I thank you for it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new updates. Let's begin. Alright guys, so first of all, Palantir stock. Palantir stock, which honestly, am I surprised to see these pullbacks, violent pullbacks, basically all the times? No, absolutely not. In previous video that I made, I told you many times how, in my opinion, Palantir was not cheap over there, and I was waiting for lower prices for the long-term portfolio in order to accumulate more shares. And I got a comment or two like, oh yeah, but you always say that the stocks are not cheap. I agree with that. The point is I like to be patient. And I know that sooner or later, if something is not cheap, you will have opportunities moving forward to buy it lower, as basically we are seeing right now. Now, what do I mean by that? When we analyze companies like Palantir, I do think that it is important to make a distinction between the potential of the company and the actual objective history that we have today. Okay, so the actual data being objective. What do I mean by that? And this is why I actually want to update you on the fundamental valuation, trying to see what prices am I watching for the long term. When it comes to Palantir, basically what we have today, let's forget about all the potential and stuff. What do we have today? We have the long-term orientation. They gave 2025 a revenue of 4 billion or more. That's what they gave. Now, obviously, this orientation looks conservative because, well, when we take a look at what Palantir has done, full year of 2020, 1.1 billion, 47% year over year. When we take a look at Q2 2021, 49% year over year. Q1 2021, 49% year over year on the quarter as well. Now, clearly, this guideline over there considers a 30% growth to reach the 4 billion. So even just with the actual data that we have, we understand that maybe that orientation is pretty conservative. However, what I like to do in order to understand the actual history, the objective history of the company, in order to understand a decent price, okay, that tells the story, I like to consider the orientation. So what I like to do, EBITDA margin valuation, price to sales as well. 2019, 2020, this is the historical data. Then 2021, 2022, those are analysts' expectations. Then on average, we go on around this famous 30%, okay? I put it until 2028. By the way, 2025 we are 4.28 billion, which is slightly more than the orientation, okay? But anyway, in a way that we have an idea of the actual story on how it is today. Now, after 2028, EBITDA margin I took 30%. So great margin for a software company, nothing crazy, however. Efficient business, 30%. Obviously is amazing, but you have to consider that it is a software company. That will give an EBITDA of 2.82 billion out of 9.4 billion in total revenue in 2028, a multiple of 20. Now, usually multiples tend to be 25, 26, depending on the market conditions. I took an average. As I told you, I like to be objective, conservative, try to find a price where I'm very comfortable with. Enterprise value 56.47. Then the cash minus debt, guys, I put 3 billion. I don't like to put that number too much. I don't like to add market cap based on the cash minus debt. Anyway, we will come out with an idealistic market capitalization in 2028 of basically 60 billion. Okay, with the EBITDA multiple. Then let's see the price to sales valuation. Obviously, I put 9 because it is an average. It is, for example, what Microsoft was trading at. Now, the thing is that this price to sales ratio, honestly, is not conservative, probably. Let's say it is okay in a market like it has been in the recent 3-4 years for software companies. However, if we embrace a negative period in the market, maybe we can be more near to 7-6. Okay, anyway, with that one, market cap would be around 84.7 billion by 2028. An average 72 billion. Discount rate, a decent one, 13%, also due to the fact that possible increase in interest yields and all that kind of stuff. 13%, I think it is decent. Market cap today, 34.6. Shares outstanding, fair price, basically $18 per share. Now, $18 per share compared to the price today. Is it cheap? Well, it is a price that, to me, it makes me be comfortable with buying Palantir. Okay, meaning that I don't need something exceptional to happen in order to justify this price. However, as I just showed you, the company just made a 49%, Q1, Q2, etc. So let's try to be less conservative. 49%, I put 45% 2022, then 40, then decreasing. Arriving basically in 2025 with 5 billion instead of 4. Okay, as they said. Same stuff, same multiples. What we have is a fair price of basically $21 per share. Now, what all of that tells us for the actual story, by being objective with what we have today, what we can say is that if you want to buy the full story without paying a premium, in my opinion, Palantir becomes interesting in this area over there. I put that in the graph so that you can see it clearly. In this orange box is where you're buying the actual story with the actual data objective that we have today. Okay, the guidelines, all that kind of stuff. Above that, you are paying a premium. A premium which is justified, by the way. Why? Because, well, first of all, for what we have seen in the quarter's results. Second of all, because, well, very likely that orientation is too conservative, okay, given by the CEO. Now, the thing is that the higher this premium is, and the more exceptional results you will need. Can Palantir come back here? I have no clue. The point is, in my opinion, the nearest you get to this area, the less risk you have in the long term. The risk rewards gets better and better. Clearly, I invested in Palantir because I expect more than this. But the market is not sure about that at the moment. Palantir is a very innovative company that needs time. It takes time to actually create disruptive markets. What I do expect, to be honest, is Palantir to have a sort of a snowball effect in revenues moving forward, like for example from 2024 moving forward. Why I do expect that? Do you remember the whole video that I made about scalability? Do you remember the whole video where I basically told you how Palantir could reach, for example, 500 billion market cap by 2030, with this whole idea of shifting from business to government, business to business, business to small businesses, okay, all that kind of stuff. If you don't remember that, I put you the video in the description. So what I expect is a snowball effect in revenues, because we know that Palantir has recurring revenues. Plus, if they're able to scale and reach smaller and smaller businesses, the revenues will increase, okay, together with recurring revenues that they get every year just by doing nothing, actually. So this is what I expect. What I expect is that, for example, from here we will start again with a 40%. I expect 3-4 years where the revenue will continue to grow, something like that. Okay, we reach a point where the snowball it's in, and you see how the fair price goes higher, 33.24. I mean that if you buy the stock during those runs, okay, like for example if you buy Palantir near 30, well, the risk reward is not too much in your favor, because what you need to justify this price is something is exceptional to happen. Okay, so if you are a new investor, my probably advice, even though I don't give financial advice, but it is, do not be fooled by these enthusiastic moves in the market. Okay, always try to have an idea on the actual story, a decent price today for the company, and bear in mind the premium you are paying long term. Is it justified? For example, right now is at 23% premium. Now, if you are asking me, this is not too much of a premium for a potential disruptive company. We have had companies like Amazon that basically traded at premiums for years and years. This is pretty normal with new disruptive companies. But my point is, don't be fooled. Don't buy because it's green, okay? Just keep an eye on the actual story, the actual data. In my opinion, here is where it becomes interesting. Now, in terms of price action, obviously Palantir is pretty great for traders. This has to be said, because those movements, guys, well, this is a fun stock to watch, a fun stock to trade. And as of now, we have this positive trend line. We see that today Palantir is actually bouncing back on this interesting support, 23.68. which worked as a support over there, as a resistance many times. Okay, it is like an average accumulation price for Palantir. Together with this support, we have also the trend line support. Okay, so this should be, let's say, a pretty strong support, at least in the short term. We don't know whether Palantir will be able to break that. I think that it is all related to the market situation, especially the treasury yield. Okay, for Palantir, it is extremely important. Now, one thing to notice is that we broke violently both moving averages and confirmed below them. Okay, we saw that today the stock tried to come back and got rejected. So even if we have a bounce over there, let's say that we have a top over us, okay, pretty solid resistances. First of all, the two moving averages, and then once more this green area over there, which, as I told you in previous videos, it was a support. Palantir bounced back once and then boom, completely destroyed it. To be honest, in the short term, I expect over there a little bit of bounce. Okay, I don't think that Palantir can move straight down, crashing completely. This is what I think about that. Those pullbacks are not something that actually surprise me. I think they are pretty normal because the market today still doesn't have a clue how to price Palantir. So it all depends on the sentiment. Let's see if the short-term price action can hold this important support over there. It looks like today we are trying to test that. Let's see how the day is gonna close. Anyway, do not be fooled if you are new by enthusiasm and rejections. Try to always have an objective view and on the actual value of the company. In my opinion, risk reward for the long term is the best thing you can think of. So I hope you find the video interesting, guys, and leave me a like, leave me down a comment below, tell me what do you think about that. Subscribe to the channel if you want, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.